Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence. Today we're going to take a look at the G.I. Joe Classified Target exclusive Tiger Force Wreckage with Tiger Paw. And yes, I did just get this one at Target. They really do seem to be like they are all sold out. I know we've been seeing a lot of these on the shelves. When I went and looked for them, there was one or two stores that had one, and I had to drive a little bit further than I normally do. So yeah, this one, it might be worth money, or it may end up sitting there peg warming. Who knows how many they actually ordered, because even the one that I ordered on target.com got back ordered, and it wasn't going to ship till later on this week. So I got this figure. Again, it does look pretty cool. This is just a repaint of the ferret, but it is something that was in the G.I. Joe lore before. And then we have this figure, Wreckage. Now, there's been a little confusion on Wreckage, and back in the day, there was an unproduced Sabretooth figure, which is right here, and it never got done. And as you can see, he is just a repaint of Firefly. He comes with a Rakondo's gun. I actually have Rakondo's gun back there, so you can throw that on. Later on, they did a figure called Wreckage, which you can see that there is a different color in the paint scheme. Now, I don't know enough about it to really get too much into it, other than they did bring it back out. There's a lot of talk that there was an issue with the name Sabretooth being with Marvel, that they didn't even want to go down if they didn't want to fight it. I don't know, but they changed his name to Wreckage. So some people will call him Sabretooth, some people will call him Wreckage. As you can see, there is a difference in the color. So anyway, we're going to look at this guy who is Wreckage. He is a repaint of Firefly, and that is the reason why you're getting a Joe figure that is a repaint of a Cobra figure. All right? Now, the Tiger Paw was originally, if I am correct, in the Tiger Force line back in the day. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at it. All right, there it is, 137. Wonderful artwork. I love what they did with the mask, where it kind of has like this skull or whatever. And then over here we have the file card system, the QR code that leads you to absolutely nowhere but hell. And on the back, they're going to show you everything that you're going to get. Pretty much the same as what we got with the Cobra Ferret, how it's played out. So we do get a new helmet. Again, just a repainted helmet. And then you're going to see a lot of Firefly's accessories. So anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's just get right into this, because I am excited to open this up and go ahead and play with it. I mean, it's a nice day out. So anyway, if you like this type of content, you like G.I. Joe, please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a G.I. Joe video. And I wake up real early in the morning after being on real late on a live stream just to get this done. Take care. Oh, don't take care. Stay. Okay, so just like the ferret that we have over here, everything does come in the box. We have 137 Wreckage Tiger Paw, 137. Again, as I've talked about this thing is upside down. Drives me nuts. It comes in that bag. I ain't gonna lie, I would still much rather have this. All right, even with the box with the upside down numbers, rather than what we get now, where we have to rip the stuff out of the bubble pack. Absolutely awful. It drives me nuts. So the weapon, the big cannon, is still in here. So we're going to kind of cut this thing open. All right, and then there we go. We got the gun out. This is supposed to try and keep it straight. I really don't know if it works or not. I'm going to say no, because we've had so many issues with weapons not being straight. So here are our directions. All right, if you do want to put these on, and it is telling you exactly which way the wheels go. So what we're actually going to have is two sets of wheels. You can see that these treads are different. All right, so these two go together. Then hopefully they gave me all the same ones, and then these ones go together. And it's trying to tell you that the treads here are facing forward. So basically you're looking at a V, same way that I have it over here. All right, so quickly we'll pop on everything. Oh, look at this, I got a huge mess here. Some people's OCD Geo is going to go absolutely nuts, and I love it. All right, so here we go. Makes a V right there. V for victory. these things are just going to pop on nice and easy. Now, I have not removed them, but I have had people talk about that they do come off fairly easily. So once you hear that pop, it's on pretty nice. All right. So this thing walks you through absolutely everything that you need to do. All right. It also tells you how to put the luggage rack on, or weapons rack, however you want to call it. That already comes on there, but it looks like you can probably remove it. So we have our push bar. If I can get this missile out of it, maybe. Now here is the little winch for it. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't really work, but you do have this piece right here. So it's made to look like it. All right. These things are going to go in like so, right? Actually, like that. All right. So this piece goes on first, if I am correct. Oh, actually, that's what happens. Thought I would remember this. So this goes through like this. All right. Then you're just going to pop these on like so. All right. Nice and easy. It looks like a good working winch. It doesn't. Would it be awesome if it was? Sure, but that costs more money. And they're trying to keep this at a $55 price point. Here we have the same display, handlebars. Now, obviously, the wheels do not move back and forth. And I know that drives a lot of people nuts, but again, it's not a huge deal to me. But you do have a nice display right there. It looks like it has a HISS tank that is in its sights. I wonder what. I'm just going to pop right in there. So you can turn this back and forth. Now I'm wondering what is in here. You got a HISS tank on there too. I don't know if you want to be shooting at your own guys, but they are Cobra. I mean, let's be honest. They're going to miss. All right. So this is the extension for the rockets. Now, a lot of people were kind of upset about this. Like, why would they do this? But if I remember correctly, I thought they said something about how they wanted you to have the option. These things actually kind of hurt. Got to push them in nice and hard, and it'd be easier if you had like gloves or something on it. Actually, put them on upside down. I'm an idiot. But if you wanted to remove them and just use it as a regular ATV, you can. Now, I don't think there's going to be a lot of ATV enthusiasts getting this, because who knows if they're going to be around, especially not the Ferret. We got the missiles. And again, this is the cat dog missile. If you have kids or you're in that age bracket, you remember cat dog. A cat and a dog connected together. They couldn't poop. They couldn't pee because, well, you can use your imagination. Now, this was probably the dumbest missile ever made. But they gave you pretty much what came with the original. And let's be honest, that's something that drives some people nuts and other people seem to really like. Now, they modernize some things, then they keep some things original. So it's kind of pick your poison on, you know, what you actually want to do. All right. So you have this piece here, which is going to plug in right there. All right. And then you can clip this on to either side. Hell, you can clip it onto the back, wherever you want it to be. On the Tiger Paw here, it looks like it's on this side. If I remember correctly, on the Ferret, it actually showed it on the other side, but the original one was on that side. So that's actually where I put it. So again, you can kind of plop this thing wherever you want. It does have enough tension that it will stay up and down. All right. So we're going to push all this stuff to the back. We're quickly going to take a look at Tiger Paw before we get to Wreckage. All right. So you already see how the wheels are. It makes the nice little V shape. You have this winch looking piece right here. And then you get a small paint app that shows the hook of the winch, which is nice. So you get the push bar, so you don't have to worry about crashing in anything. You can still use it. You can hook your vamp up to it. You hook your stinger up to it if you want, and you can pull it all out. All right. You do have the articulated guns, same ones that we had on the original Ferret, with blast effects right there. You got the light, which I really do like the silver. That makes it pop. I mean, something like that, you don't think that it's going to go very far, but it does. The red and the black handle. So not keeping everything the same color does do an absolute lot to it. So looking at this here, it looks like he has a hiss tank. And maybe the hiss tank isn't in its sights. It's just telling you that it's ahead of you. Maybe that's why the Ferret might have it. But we do have the gas and the brake on here. All right. I already showed you the cannon, the two colors here. But the cannon does look pretty nice on it. Just kind of pop this off, I guess. So the cannon does look nice. It's got some detail. The red paint really makes it pop, where this one is just all red. And it is made, if you're wondering, this is a handle, and that's the spot to hold it, so it can hold it down like a minigun. This is something they could pop off and use to fire. Now, there are some people that complained that the original Ram cycle didn't have an ammo canister. Krusty old crow, I'm talking to you. There's other people too. Where Wreckage here, or not Wreckage, Night Force Shockwave, with his Ram cycle, or whatever they want to call it, I forget what it's called, they gave you an ammo canister. Now people are going to complain, I have nowhere to put the ammo canister. But anyway, that is the reason why that handle sits there like that. Now, I pop this thing back on. And this thing is fairly soft and bendy, but as long as it stays straight, it's fine. And again, it does have the port for blast effects. So right here, we get the nice Tiger Force look. We get the eye, Tiger Force logo. I do think this looks way better than the Tiger Force Ram cycle. I probably should have grabbed that, but I didn't. ATV, PNR 23. So I do love the fact that they're making sure that, I mean, this one tells you that it's Cobra, but that they are using the same wheel. So if you have to run into Firestone and get the wheels, it's actually really easy, or the tires, shall I say. These are technically, the rims are considered, I believe, the wheels. But if you got to run into Firestone and grab them, you can get them. They are pliable. So if you do have a kid that has this, it's not going to make that hard noise. I love the fact that they're doing this way better than anything that you're going to hear when it's kind of rumbling. We do have a caution exhaust. Now, again, if you're down here working on it and you don't know that's the exhaust, probably don't want you working on any of my vehicles. Back here on the cover, we can see G.I. Joe. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't pop off. That would have been really cool if it did. The original Ferret did. Here we have the gas tank, or what would have filled the gas. Now, again, another great addition would have been to have just kind of a hole here so we could have some sort of gas station later on. There you have your Tiger Force, and you do have your U.S. flag. Now, before anyone says anything and says that flag is backwards, it is not. If you don't know the true meaning of everything, in the U.S., the flag always has the stars facing forward and the stripes backwards. So on one side, it may look like it's right, but if it's on the right shoulder, the stars are going to be first. And I always thought that was wrong, but if you look into the lore of it, it is because the U.S. does not run away from a battle. So the flag would always be blowing backwards like that. So if it's driving this way, this flag would be blowing that way. True story. All right. But anyway, I will post a link in the first comment to this where I actually compare this Ferret to the original Ferret, and you can see all the design cues if you're so interested between the original O-ring version and this, which is obviously the exact same one as this one. All right. On the bottom, we don't really have anything. All right. So they don't really give you anything like that. I already discussed the missiles, but you do have some nice detail all along on this. Now, one thing I do want to find is if there's some small bungee cords so we can strap some sort of weapons to it, maybe a weapons crate to the back. That is something that I need. I'm sure they make something that is similar. All right, so let's throw this to the side and let's take a look at Wreckage and everything that he does come with. And again, here's our Firefly. And if I am correct, he pretty much comes with everything that Firefly does. Matter of fact, as I'm looking at everything, although this gun here is from Arsenal Pew Pews, so don't go looking for it in your Firefly and wondering why you don't have it. All right, so, oops. All right, so we have the backpack, which is the exact same. All right, you got some nice detail to it. Obviously, there's some sort of computer display going right there. You got some grenades, maybe a smoke bomb or a flashbang, I'm not sure. But again, this was made to recreate the actual Firefly's backpack. And once again, I will also post a link to this figure so you can see the same stylistic cues that they took with this figure. All right. So the little bit of paint app really goes far. You can see all the stuff that's inside of it. On the bottom here is actually made for this piece right here, the RC car, which they do not give you the RC car. All right. With the Firefly, they give you the nods, but they give you a helmet with this one. All right. So here you go. I believe this is the same one that comes with the vamp. Obviously, it looks like he's taken down 7 different Cobras. Now, is that an actual Cobra? Is it a vehicle? Who knows? Looks like what here we have is some sort of camera. You obviously have your headset that runs along. And I really do like this because if you want to army build this, if you're lucky enough to army build this, maybe you want to have this guy and you want to have a different Tiger Force figure, but you don't want the exact same figure, well, you can kind of kit bash one, throw a helmet over it. You do have I'm assuming this is supposed to be a tiger mouth, but I mean, it looks more like a shark mouth. So, all right, so I throw that right there. We do get the 2 landmines. Now, this is really what should have come with tripwire rather than the big giant ones that go on it. And they're going to go right on the side of the backpack right there. All right. But you look at these, I do like just that little bit of paint right there really goes far. And when you start adding stuff to this, it really starts making the backpack just pop a little bit more, especially more than this one where this is all gray and a very mute color. So we have I believe this is supposed to be a Wasp. This might be my most hated gun in the G.I. Joe line since they started doing realistic weapon. So here's the magazine for it. But if you really don't give it the suppressor, the truth is, it just looks really weird. I figure which way this thing goes on. The port is so small. I'll just tell you I won't be using this because I don't use this on any of them. I just have it here on Firefly. It'll probably be on its backpack. I do like the fact that they changed the magazine. They did the exact same thing with Beachhead, who, as you can see, has his proper Wasp. All right. They got the suppressor. You really do need the suppressor or it's just not going to look proper. So the design of this isn't awful, but the flimsiness, no matter how you hold it, how they hold it, if they hold it with 2 hands, they're going to bend it. So not a fan of this at all. You have his sidearm, which I'm perfectly fine with other than the big port that is made to put the suppressor on. So this gun looks absolutely ridiculous unless you have a suppressor on it. So you have 2 guns that just don't look right without a suppressor, and guess what? There's only one suppressor. You have the knife, which doesn't look bad. The fact that they put a little bit of paint on the handle really goes far. It's not super thick like a lot of the other ones. It is very flimsy. So a lot of this stuff is still built or made using the old plastic. Now, here they give you the remote control. So maybe this thing can remote control the Tiger Paw. All right, maybe he's kind of like Batman. He can control the Tiger Paw to come back to him. It's originally supposed to go with this. This is one of those things you kind of could have gotten rid of. All right, just for the fact that I don't really have anything to use it with. All right. So let's take a look at our Wreckage. And quickly we'll go over his articulation. And anyone that wonders why I do the articulation, there's always someone new coming into the G.I. Joe. So your head, you can look it down that far. You can look up that far. It is on like a neck peg that kind of moves back and forth. But it doesn't really do too much. Looking down isn't awful. But looking up, that is something where the G.I. Joe team really needs to improve that right there. Quickly, he's not, I mean, he's a little loose, but if anyone remembers, Firefly is absolutely awful when it comes to looseness. Now, he is on a ratchet, so he stays where he needs to. I have no issue standing this figure, but that is a huge disappointment. This one feels much better. So, we have the T-pose, your bicep swivel, double pinless elbows. He seems kind of stiff there. Now, again, if you feel like your figure is too tight, take a second, either throw it in some hot water, not boiling, just hot water, or hit it with a blow dryer. Not a big issue. That is part of collecting. His wrists are going to move back and forth. All right. He is right-handed, so you can articulate the trigger or the gun. He does have the ab crunch. All right, moves up and down. He can move side to side nice and smoothly. That's been a huge issue too with a lot of the Joes. They don't tend to move side to side. Now, his Jean-Claude Van Damme, maybe not the greatest. Some may have to do with this. This is actually a very poor Jean-Claude Van Damme, to be 100% honest. But it is what it is, and let's be honest, most of them aren't going to be doing the side splits. But this may have to do with all this stuff being in the way, actually. So, but drop-down hips. I feel like they've really started to take away the drop-down hips, and I'm perfectly fine with that. As long as they can still kick forward, and they can do a pretty good job going forward. All right, your thigh swivel, double pinless knees. All right. And then you have your boot cut. Oh, I love that sound. And then your ankle rockers, so you can pose these figures very easily. All right. So, as you can see by looking at these two, they do have two different face sculpts, but everything else on the body is the exact same. So if you like Firefly, you like that buck of the Firefly, you're definitely going to like Wreckage. Now, I'm not going to lie to you and say that I think Wreckage looks close to as good as Firefly, because Firefly is just an absolute awesome figure. Now, hold on, let's see. Do they have the same? You know, they may have the exact same. You know, now that I'm looking at it, I believe they actually have the same face sculpt. But the paint apps go really far to making it look like it's something different. So let's just quickly take a look at this face here. And I feel like with a lot of their figures, their Night Force figures, maybe the Tiger Force, they really make it look like they have been up forever. Like these guys haven't slept in 36, 48 hours. But the eyes are good. They look straight. He's got some nice eyebrows. The darkness around the eyes, we used to call them Frontera bags, because that's what we had. Now, maybe that's supposed to be some sort of paint. To me, it looks like he's just extremely tired. So the head looks really good, all one color. But adding that paint to the face, which looks like it's a skull over the balaclava, I think looks absolutely awesome. The orange isn't too much, all right? It doesn't stand out nearly as much as, let's say, this awful yellow, like this guy's just waiting to get shot, or I don't know what Roadblock's helmet is. Oh, I think it's actually on him. Or Roadblock's helmet, which is also a Target exclusive, that says, hey, shoot me. I mean, this thing is easier to spot than this whole Tiger Paw. So, all right. So you do have 3 grenades that run across. That little bit of paint goes so far, all right, where you can actually see that it's being held on, where with Firefly, it's all black. Now, not a big deal, because you might think, hey, these little holsters, these little straps may keep it on, because obviously he has the green pouches right there. But seeing that, it really makes it pop. You got the orange right down here of these little pouches. All right, all kinds of pouches, because again, you're reusing Firefly, who's a saboteur. Pouches all along here. Nice drop down holster. Now, I know there's a lot of people like Bobby B that having a floating holster drive them nuts, because that's not how it is in the military. And I do understand. I have an issue with drop down holsters like this that don't have a strap, because they literally just drop down and they'll end up around their shins more time than not. That drives me absolutely nuts. But you got the paint apps right here of these flashbangs. Again, more, I believe, explosives. And you're talking about having 2 different paint apps right there. Now, again, this doesn't have the drop down. So this is kind of floating, but it's so tight that it really doesn't matter. It stays on. You got your sheath right here. Now, they've done this a lot. And to be 100% honest, I'm not sure how great of an idea it is. But it is what G.I. Joe had. All right? You got your camouflage, or your tigerflage, whatever you want to call it. Your Tiger Force right there. So you're making sure, hey, everyone knows you are part of Tiger Force. Zipper right there. Now, when you look at that, that looks really good. They're able to hit that little paint right there, and you can actually see the zipper and the little piece that you pull down, whatever it's called. Where on this guy, you have it, but it's not as noticeable. But doing it in silver, it really, really does pop, at least in my opinion. Here you have another gauntlet. I'm not really sure what that's for. You got your knee pads, and then you have your boots, which are all one color. Back of the figure sits like that. All right. So it does look good. An easy figure to stand. He's not wobbly. That's probably the best thing, because, again, you look at that guy. That guy is just a complete mess. And every single person that has this Firefly has that problem. This guy, no issues at all. Here we have the mask. So that is how he looks when he's riding his helmet, well, riding with the helmet on, or if you want to army build him, or maybe you're like, hey, I don't like having a Firefly, but look at that, look at that face. Like, I don't want to hide that. So this will probably go in my bag of helmets that I keep getting for the Steel Brigade, Steel Corps, whatever you want to call them. They're Steel Brigade. Someone else may own the rights, but the truth is, it's still Steel Brigade. I mean, it's your lore. All right, so there you go with that. We have the gun that can sit just like that. No problems. Again, you got the suppressor, which does come off. And as we've seen on numerous different figures, it plugs right on there. And having the 2 different colors really does help. Now, I think this is kind of an ugly color gun. And again, I really hate the way it looks like that. So that thing just sits there. Unless if I have a suppressor on it, it just sits there. Oops. Just sits right in here. And then what we get is the remote control, the RC controller. Now, people have said they found a way that this thing is supposed to go right up there. I don't believe it. I don't believe that's meant for it. You have to cram that thing in there. So maybe they just gave you this in case you lost this one, because I don't know, that one has a little bit of paint. So you are going to know the difference, but maybe that's the reason why they gave it to you. I have no idea. This will probably end up in the bag. You can kind of throw it in just up like that. But someone will probably tell me that, no, it fits up here. I watched someone try that. I mean, it technically will, like, kind of pushes up there, but I don't think it's supposed to stay there because there's no locking mechanism. All right. It just happens to be the exact same proper size. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'll shoot Lenny a message and ask him if that's how that's supposed to go on there. All right. So there you go with this figure. I'll show you exactly what I was talking about with this gun. So I always like to show you how hard it is to pose these figures, or how easy it is, one or the other. All right. So I don't really like having a whole line of the magazine. I'm going to pry their hand open, and we're going to throw this on here. But as you can see, it instantly starts bending the weapon. And you really have to do a lot of work to keep it somewhat straight. You can do it. All right. But the question is, how well is it actually going to work? Again, these figures stand great. But I know what a lot of people wanted to see is how this goes on. And I know Shark Eyes, he did the first review on this because he got it a couple weeks ago. All right. He wants to see him with his proper weapon. Now, I doubt I'll leave him with this because I only have one of these, but I do have two of the black ones. All right. And this, again, these things are super flimsy also. I'll probably find other weapons. I have a lot of Arsenal pew-pews, other 3D weapons people have sent me, gridiron stuff. But if you want to see what Wreckage would look like with his proper gun, or shall I say saber tooth, there you go. All right, no problems at all. How do they get onto the bike? How does he fit onto the bike? Well, let's find out quickly. Now, you really have to manipulate it. At least you did with her, to get them to sit. Put a firefly back there. Because there is a little bit of leaning into it. But you can get the hand right over there. All right. Then you can make him looking forward. But you do have to do some manipulating with the legs. It's going to take a little bit longer than you might think. Female is smaller, so she's easier to fit down. But as of right now, his ass is actually hanging off it. So you're going to have to do a little bit of work with the knees. You're not going to have a secondary guy really on it without bowing the feet out. All right. And then what I had talked about, last thing quickly, is this thing. So if you remember the roadblock, the first ones, the Cobra Island ones, you can kind of do the same thing. Now again, you have to use your imagination. How this thing also looks like it's probably some sort of laser. So does it really need ammo? Well, that's kind of up for you to decide. Unfortunately, the handle is actually kind of small. It looks like it was almost designed with the female in mind. Then they decided to throw this in. So this thing flips over. He takes this thing off, and there you go. Now he has something that he can actually use because he lost all his weapons. or he just needs a bigger cannon to fight a Stinger or a Hiss tank. Good luck on either one of those. So there you go. That is your Wreckage and Tiger Paw. Now let's head over to the Productive Susan for my final thoughts. All right, so my final first thought on this is I really like it. I thought the Ferret was a great vehicle. As I mentioned, it's bigger than you might think, but it's not too big to fit on your shelves. This, going down a road where you have unproduced figures, or they were produced later on, but not during the original O-ring, is a great homage to it. Yeah, I think this one might be a little bit harder to get, but then again, I could be completely wrong. What I know is right now, Targets don't have them. They've had them out on the shelves. I think they maybe got 2, 4 per store, and they're just gone. They were all showing up last night, but completely gone this morning. I found one store that had, actually 2 stores, but I went to the one store. They had it in the back. Thank God. So now it's done. I really do like this. If you have it on pre-order, you better keep it, because I'm not sure if this is one that's going to be readily available. But I could be completely wrong, and these will be on clearance. All I know is I like it. All right, so that is the full review of my Wreckage and Tiger Paw. And I have to say, I really like these little 4-wheelers. Not going to lie, they're a nice size, but they're not too big. The Stinger, or well, the Vamp Stinger, same footprint, you're pushing it. His tank, very large. Oh my God, the Dragonfly. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But I like these things. I think they're made real well. I did forget to mention, someone's probably already said something in the comments, there are shocks, right? So there are shocks on the wheels. If anyone was wondering, again, it is in my Ferret video, my Ferret review. But anyway, if you like this figure, if this is something you've been waiting for, I love the fact that Classified, the G.I. Joe team, is going down a road where they're not just saying, hey, we're only going to do O-ring figures. We're now seeing stuff that they're pulling from the old Palitoy Action Force line. I think it's awesome because we have Quora coming. We have Glenda coming with the Dragonfly. We have this guy who was unproduced till later on in the line. Eventually, I think we've heard Lenny talk about they would love to do the Renegades, the whole Renegade line. I think this type of stuff, Sergeant Savage, I think this stuff would fit in the Classified line if you classified it up. But not everyone's going to want to do that. But I think that these things are really cool. I was never a huge Tiger Force fan. It was on my way out. I like Python Patrol, even though it was at the exact same time before someone says, they came out at the same time. Yeah, I know they did, but I was like in an 8th grade, so it was towards the end. But I was picking up, specific figures. I don't have one original Tiger Force figure, but I now do have a bunch of Tiger Force Classified, and most of them are toned down to a point where it's not awful. I think this guy actually looks pretty damn badass. So I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Before you leave, if you're on social media, Instagram, A Punk with Toys, hit that subscribe button. The Facebook group page, Punks with Toys, because once you join, you're a punk with toys. I'm going to ask you, you stayed this long, you like this, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a G.I. Joe video. Now what I'm going to do is, you're still here, if you're not in the comments to see what's been highlighted there, right here is going to be my doc review, and down here is going to be the classified playlist of every G.I. Joe classified figure that's been done so far. Take care.